Joining me now, one of the congressmen who signed that letter to the Department of Defense, Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland. He is a member of both the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees. So what is the scope of what we know about this now?
We know that around $200,000 has been spent at that one resort in Scotland since Donald Trump took office. That's just one resort. Of course, there's the one in Ireland where the president sent the vice president to go stay. There's Mar-a-Lago. There's New Jersey. There's Virginia. There's D.C. There are golf courses and hotels all over the place. This president has spent 1 out of every 3 days since he's taken office at a Trump resort, hotel, or property. And there's a very clear legal principle that comes right out of the Constitution which governs all of this. The president is limited to his salary in office. It cannot be neither increased nor decreased by Congress, and he can receive no additional compensation from the U.S. government, from the taxpayers. Every time the taxpayers are hit up for another weekend, it costs about $75,000 or $100,000 at Mar-a-Lago for the Secret Service and the Department of Defense and the White House officials, or every time the money flows to Scotland for this military stopover and all of the other properties that we're just learning about now, that is a violation of the Constitution. No other president in the history of the United States has come close to doing what this president is doing in terms of turning the presidency into an instrument of self-enrichment.
In terms of Turnberry, what's striking to me is that no one appeared to know this. I mean, am I right that no one on the committee knew about this? No one had reported this? This has been just going on. There's this little airport there, and American service members have been driving the 45 minutes to this property, which, knowing how this usually works and knowing a lot of people that work for the federal government or in the services, that's not usually the kind of place you're getting sent.
Right. Well, I mean, the Prestwick Airport is necessary for the survival of the Trump resort. And so the hundreds of thousands of dollars flowing to the hotel is one thing, but the other is the millions of dollars that has been flowing to the airport, which is what keeps the whole local economy alive there. And the question is that money that's being well spent? It's been redirected there by the Trump administration. It's like the president saying to the vice president, well, we know that your meetings are in Dublin, but we want you to stay 180 miles away. That's like you've got meetings at the White House and you stay in Asbury Park, New Jersey for your meetings. It just makes no sense.
How forthcoming has the Department of Defense been in terms of documentation? Are you confident that you actually know everything there is to know about this?
No, it's been pathetic. We've gotten like 20 pages. We originally wrote them back in June. I think you reported about that. We had to write them another letter just last week in order to tell them we're getting serious. They finally produced about 20 pages. About half of that was already publicly available. And then they're saying they're waiting for the White House to review some documents. The president says he has nothing to do with it, and he doesn't know anything about it. The legal point is clear. Whether or not the president is commanding them to go stay at all the resorts and hotels and commanding the military planes to stop there, or he's trying everything in his power to stop it, it doesn't make any difference. He can't receive the money. He can't take it.
Also, the way that corruption works, if you've covered corruption in either domestic or international context, is that messages are sent down the chain that, like, it would be good to kick some money upstairs to the boss.
Yes.
I mean, that's just how corrupt environments operate. I mean, it's striking to me that this was going on and no one inside the chain of command inside DOD is saying to themselves, whether this is done totally for perfectly good logistical reasons, this does not look good.
Why was there a policy shift made? We want to see all of the accounting. We want to see all of the invoices, and we have a right to see it. And it's not up to Donald Trump. We have a right to see that. And that, of course, gets us into the whole obstruction of our congressional fact-finding function.
So I want to read, there's a Washington Post article. This is broader. This has to do with Corey Lewandowski. It has to do with the fact that they have turned over almost no documentation in your impeachment inquiry. You're fighting them in court on a number of subpoenas. They've asserted the broadest privilege assertions I think we've ever seen any modern president make. They even seem to think that they have the absolute right to stop anyone they want to from testifying. Josh Dawsey wrote up this reporting from the Washington Post. He says White House aides say they have a few advantages in this battle. Pelosi isn't behind Nadler. Many of the hearings have fizzled. Time is running out. They say they're not feeling the heat by not responding for interviews or documents. Democrats split. This is their latest on the inquiry. Is he right?
No, I don't think he's right. I think that our caucus is more unified every single day to stop the lawlessness and the criminality of this administration. We have a responsibility to defend the Constitution and defend the people. It's a completely untenable situation.
All of that is true, but the Speaker of the House, I have watched Nancy Pelosi operate. I covered her on Capitol Hill when I worked across the street from the Capitol during the ACA fight. Nancy Pelosi is one of the most adept legislators of our time. When Nancy Pelosi wants something to happen, it happens. I watched her drag the ACA across the finish line and make 40 members walk the plank, knowing she was sending them to their doom. If she wants something to happen, it happens. If she doesn't want something to happen, it doesn't happen. It is very clear from the outside, observing congressional behavior, the Speaker of the House does not want to impeach the president, and you guys can do whatever you want to do, but she is not going to pick a fight over it.
Well, first of all, we have moved contempt citations against William Barr, the Attorney General of the United States. I have a resolution to specifically disapprove and to reject every foreign government payment Donald Trump has pocketed since he came into office, and I am very hopeful that we move on that by early October at the latest. And we tell the president, turn over all of your ill-gotten gains from foreign government or face Congress.
But face what? This is the problem, is you are meeting procedural maximalism with procedural normalcy. The president steps outside the bounds of tradition. He asserts new powers, and he says, let's see it in court. And he's been doing this for 40 years. He tells a piano tuner he's not going to pay him the $3,000 that it costs to tune the piano in the lobby of his hotel. So what? Sue me. He is treating you the way he treated the piano tuners and the painters, and you're doing the same thing. It's like, well, we'll see you in court. Well, that's not going to be good enough.
Well, you're right. We are defending the rule of law and we're defending the Constitution. But here's the thing. Let's not start at the end of the story. The media always wants to jump to, well, you know, Pelosi is against impeachment. Nadler is for impeachment. I'm not positive Nadler is for articles of impeachment. Would vote for them. I'm not positive she's against them. All I know is that she is not going to prejudge the process because she's got a big caucus to govern, and he's got to keep us moving forward in the investigation.
That may all be true, but all I'm saying is that what it looks like from the outside is the caucus is united in wanting to pick the fight. That you have someone that is acting in ways that are sort of intransigent, aberrant, even lawless, arguably.
Chaotic.
Yes. That there is not the stomach to pick the fight. It's basically, we are going to do what we can, where we can do it. We're not going to just let him do it. We're going to sort of raise our objections. We're going to march through our resolutions. We're going to have our hearings. But we're not going to escalate this into a kind of cataclysmic battle between the branches.
We're going to stand tough for the rule of law. And I believe that the original sin of this administration is converting the White House into a for-profit enterprise. It's unfortunate, to my mind, that all of the Russia stuff came out first. The way to understand the Russia stuff is this is a president...
Very clearly related.
Yes, because this is a businessman who went bankrupt 6 times. No self-respecting American bank would lend money to him, and he found the Russian oligarchs. That's how Vladimir Putin and the Russian autocracy got their claws into him. And that's the way of understanding it. When he got into office, he was perhaps as stunned as anybody else, but he decided to get right back to work on making money. He said he would not divest himself. He would not do a blind trust. He was going to keep everything going. And he has, and it's unconstitutional, and we're going to stop him. And this is the Achilles heel of this administration. You watch, Chris. Mark my words.
Congressman Jamie Raskin, thank you. It's great to talk to you.